Okay, welcome to take 562 of our HVAC Greatness HVAC Sales System. Listen, guys, this is actually a video that's going to be part of the module, but I'm going to probably share this in certain groups because we're only going to hit the highlights here, but there's some very important highlights. If you sell replacement equipment in heating, air conditioning, then take a quick look at this, if you will, because we're going to break down exactly what this process is going to address and why. So let's just jump right on in here. Whenever we go out to a homeowner's house with the intent of offering a new replacement heating and air conditioning system, there's two dynamics that come together here. Let's talk about those. Number one, the homeowner knows that they have a need that's going to cost them money, right? Number two, you know, as the HVAC, maybe comfort advisor person, company, what have you, that you have a financial opportunity by selling to this customer and gaining that work. Number three, you both know about the other's needs and potential desires and interests. Then there's number four, you know that they know that you know, right? So there's this dynamic that's going on right here. So finally, number five, both of you know that a personal exchange is going to be necessary and inevitable if we're going to get through this process and determine, are we going to work together? So what determines a great interaction in business transaction? In its simplest terms, trust and caring. So imagine doing business with grandma, okay? So now you have the perfect exchange right here. She knows that you have her best interests at heart. I mean, that's grandma, right? She knows that you do this for a living and you need to charge and profit in order to stay successful, right? She understands this. She wants you to be successful. Grandma cares about you. And she's more inclined to overpay than underpay because you have an unbreakable relationship. Now let's talk about you by comparison. You care very much for grandma. You know her needs and have every one of them in mind when you're searching for solutions for her home. You assemble the very best solution possible on every possible account. Indoor air quality, temperature, humidity, ease of operation for her, whatever that might be. You're going to make sure the work itself is perfect. The system is operating perfectly. And grandma is absolutely delighted with her new home comfort system. Why? Because you have an unbreakable relationship with your grandma, and you would rather over-deliver than under-deliver, even if it's at your own expense. So our grandma example here represents the perfect interaction, right? Where both parties are absolutely happy at every level. Financially, the solutions that are actually offered and implemented or accepted, the work that's performed, and even the emotional side of knowing we did good by one another on this one, right? Since this example might be our ideal customer action, let's just use it as a target that we can strive for with each customer relationship and ultimately each customer interaction and experience. So when we have a prospective customer or maybe a relatively new customer, a customer that's used us a time or two, or maybe a long relationship customer, each interaction will need to be different in order to be satisfying to each of your customers as well as to yourself. So it's up to you to make this happen. Okay, so let's break this down. Let's start with the prospective customer. Now, this is somebody who does not know you, but is considering the possibility that you're going to be their choice for heating and air conditioning contractor on this project, that you can and will properly satisfy their wants and needs. So what do they need out of the exchange? Well, you need to demonstrate that you can deliver on each of these categories. Number one, you and your employees are trustworthy. Number two, your organization really cares about them and what they want and what's in their best interest. Number three, you are competent at your profession. You know what you're doing. Number four, you are committed to delivering professional work. In other words, It's not enough to know what to do. You have to be committed to doing it right. Number 5, you are delivering this work for an appropriate fee, a fair price. Fair to them, fair to you, fair to everybody. And the last item, you can help them arrive at the right solution for them in their situation. Now, everything that you say to this type of customer and everything that you do either builds or deteriorates credibility with each of these areas. And the same is true for what you fail to do or for what you fail to say. This is your toughest customer. Category 1, the prospective customer. No relationship, no history. You've got to go build it all. Let's move on to number 2, relatively new customers. Now, this is someone who's a little more familiar with you and is heavily considering contracting with you as their choice of HVAC contractor, probably based on past experience. And they suspect that you can and will properly satisfy their wants and needs. What do they need out of the exchange? Well, you need to further demonstrate that you can deliver on each of these categories. This means that you have stock in each of these accounts. There is a measure of trustworthiness that they see in you. They see that you possibly care. They see that you are professional, that you appear professional. They have seen professional work by you in the past, etc., and so forth. So you have some credibility in some or all of these areas, but not enough, right? Most of what you say and or do builds or deteriorates credibility in each of these areas. Also, some of what you fail to do or say will more than likely have the same effect. Okay, our third category are longtime customers. These are relationship customers that are as close to grandma as you can get. Grandma's the perfect situation, but this gets us pretty close. Now, this is someone who is very familiar with you and has pretty much decided you're going to be the company unless you mess it up. They're pretty sure that you can and will deliver properly to satisfy their wants and needs. And so what do they want out of the exchange? They need you to demonstrate as needed that you can deliver on each of these categories as they raise concerns or if concerns develop within them. So these are the same categories, but typically we're most of the way there. We've got stock in each of these accounts. We have credibility in each of these areas. And more than likely, you're going to get the customer. Now, if you're trying to bring in new customers, you really have to look at these first 2 areas. So we have to have flexible sales processes. So the focus with this customer is that last goal, that of completing the discovery and selection process to find that right solution, as well as the logistics of going through the process, maybe financing, what have you. So all of this is what we're focused on this last customer. So we can see the same sales process to each of these 3 categories is probably not a good idea, okay? So let's talk about that. So you have huge credibility in most or even all of the above, and quite possible enough to proceed without any questions, okay? Most of what you say continues to build credibility, and very little of what you say will mess that up in their eyes, unless you just do something that it will create new or increase new concerns, okay? We got to be careful. Also, sometimes if you fail to say or do something, it might have a similar effect, okay? So now, here's the point. We need to develop a minimum of 3 different sales interactions. And we have to know who we're talking to when we go out on that appointment and apply the right process to the right customer, okay? We have to be agile and flexible, and we have to focus on what will help your customer become satisfied or even excited about working with you and your company, no matter where their starting point might be. The point is, a sales process depends on the sales opportunity, okay? We need to learn 3 different basic sales presentations that would appeal to each of these. And we need to have the flexibility to shift in and out of each of these areas as needed, no matter who you're dealing with. point is, one sales process isn't enough. We've got at least 3 categories of customers out there, if not more. So if we at least have 3 different strategies, 3 different processes for at least 3 different types of customers, we can adjust on the fly if we're well versed in each of them, and adjust where you need to adjust, right? So that's the idea here. We're going to develop 3 basic processes that are going to walk you through the sales experience and address every concern, alleviate any apprehension, and build total credibility at every area possible. How do we do this? Well, we follow a process. The process, first of all, we're going to be developing. So follow me on the next one and watch as we take your sales process to a whole new level. Pete Ramsey here. See you on the next video.